Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us on transfer deadline day. It has just gone 1 p.m. So what I thought we would do is enter Q&A land midway through the day. We'll have a full roundup. I think I'm going to do it at 7. Obviously, there will probably still be some late deals done, but we'll do the whole window at 7 p.m. So get your questions in, get your topics in, players. Done deals, not many too far, but I suspect as the afternoon now kicks on, a lot will indeed go through. So done deals today, Weghorst to Burnley to replace Chris Wood, huge 6'6" centre forward going into Burnley. That you would imagine was all done and dusted because they announced it at sort of 11 a.m. The same with Christian Eriksen, which is a great story. Eriksen, in fact, he's on my screen right there. Eriksen, that was announced at 8:05 this morning. So all done. And we've heard rumours of that. And great to see him making his recovery. So any comments, any questions on those two, get them in. In terms of the Championship, Bambo Diaby, that came out of nowhere for me, although someone's just told me on Twitter that he's been training and he's joined Preston. Bambo Diaby, now, what term do I use without libeling him? He's been serving a ban, and I think it was for failing some kind of medical test as well. So Diaby is back. He was playing centre half for Barnsley, wasn't he? He's back in at Preston. That's pretty much it in the Championship. I beg your pardon. Jamal Blackman has gone in at Huddersfield, likely to be a second, third choice goalkeeper there. He's been around a few clubs in the Championship. He's gone in at Huddersfield as well. So not too many deals done so far. We're hearing a lot from Bournemouth. 4, 5 possible players going in there. Todd Cantwell is apparently having a medical at 1:30, I think. And we're hearing pretty strongly that Nat Phillips on loan from Liverpool to Bournemouth is happening. So, yeah, get your questions in, particularly focused on deadline day. Get your topics in. Players to talk about, what you want to see, what you're expecting to see as well, particularly in the Championship, but you can talk about the big Premier League moves as well. Big hello to everybody. Please hit that like button as ever. Right, let's get into some comments and we'll just work it in terms of comments that have come in and Q&A stuff. On the managerial front as well, I'm just seeing in the chat there as well, Neil Harris has been announced as the Gillingham manager. I suppose that counts as a bit of recruitment of sorts. We're expecting Frank Lampard to be announced, possibly with Donny van der Beek as well at Everton during the day. Right, let's get into some questions. Do hit that thumbs up button for me. Hey to you and Dave, Martin, Alistair. Very quiet on the Reading front. No, we don't expect Reading to do anything. In many ways, all quiet on the Reading front would probably be a good thing by the end of the day if it means nobody going out. Bournemouth trying to buy the whole of English football. Big sense with Bournemouth that they're going for it, aren't they? They're in year 2 of their parachute payments, Bournemouth, and we know that particular income stream halves next season for them as they go on to year 3. So perhaps a little bit it's now or never. Hello to Aaron, David, Wayne as well. Amin Bassi having a medical at Barnsley. This was from a couple of days ago. So possibly that is going to get completed today. Mila, what do you think about Sluga most likely leaving Luton? It's a shame, isn't it? Sluga, the goalkeeper, I think was a record signing for Luton when Luton arrived back in the Championship. I've said a few times I was there at his debut, and unfortunately that was a bit of a marker for, well, look, his career hasn't been dreadful at Luton, but he threw one in, didn't he, in the first half of his debut. He improved last season. Even earlier this season, Luton fans were counting up clean sheets and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to work out. And I think there's a link with Jed Steer going in. They've obviously got James Shea as well. Yeah, Bournemouth apparently have agreed a fee for Kiefer Moore. There's Todd Cantwell links. There's Joe Rothwell links. Nat Phillips looks like it's done. There's big links with Dembele from Peterborough as well. So I'm sure the Bournemouth fans are going to be very, very excited. I'm seeing Matt Target as well on my screen, smiling at the driver, as you would be smiling at the moment if you're a football player about to go and agree terms with Newcastle. Could be a nice payday for Matt Target today. Maxi, thoughts on all the Bournemouth signings? Well, this is, of course, indeed, if they do happen. Jeff Hendrick on loan from Newcastle to Middlesbrough is being rumoured now in talks. Jed Steer is up on my screen as well. That ties in with the Simon Sluga possibly out of Luton deals. My thoughts on the Bournemouth signings are that obviously all of those players would improve the squad, wouldn't they? There's no real denying that. The only worry is it possible to bring in too many? If it is, say Bournemouth sign 5 players, even if they are Moore, Dembele, Rothwell, Phillips and Cantwell. Imagine they sign all 5. It's almost then, yeah, they're all good. You know, they're all really pretty much proven at championship level, aren't they? Except maybe Nat Phillips, but you think he can do it, being as he's played at Liverpool. So you just wonder whether it would be too many in terms of Bournemouth. Is it panic buying? And the panic would obviously be that the parachute payments drop from sort of 35 million to 15 million, and it gets harder every season you're down. So that would be, I guess, the point with Bournemouth, that they're third in the league at the moment and strengthening to go. But how many is enough and how many is too many? I'm sure people, if I've got people my age in the chat, will remember Tino Asprilla going in at Newcastle. And Asprilla was an amazing player, incredible player. But that meant that it split up Peter Beardsley and Sir Les Ferdinand, didn't it? So sometimes, yeah, you are on paper strengthening your squad, but the wrong player at the wrong time in the wrong position can be fatal. Keep your comments coming in and we'll answer as many and we'll get as many topics as we can. Please do hit the thumbs up button, help as many people find us as well. Yeah, Neil Harris in at Gillingham. I'll get your feedback on that. I thought Neil Harris, having taken Millwall to an 8th place finish in the Championship and, Cardiff finished in the playoffs, didn't they? I didn't suspect he would be going in at the bottom of League One. So I don't know. It's no disrespect to Gillingham. They're in a really bad position. They lost 7-2 at the weekend, didn't they? I wondered whether he'd be going in a little bit higher up than that. Bambo Diaby, yes. And Preston, I don't want to make a comparison to Ched Evans, but both players that have been out of the game for different reasons, of course. And Preston will certainly give a player a chance. And everyone deserves a chance, whatever the situation there is with Diaby and his ban that he's just served. Andrew, think Brum could do with a new defence. I think we might see someone in at Birmingham today. I know they've been busy and Hernandez already in. Bacuna looked good yesterday, didn't he? Bacuna in at Birmingham in midfield. So, yeah, possibly with Harley Dean having gone out. Lots of links with Christian Pedersen as well. Hull to surprise a lot of people. Well, Marcus, the link we're seeing with Hull is another Marcus, isn't it? It's Marcus Force. So if they can do that, that's a nice deal. I suppose with Hull, it's just how much do they get offered for Keane Lewis Potter today and can they turn it down? Dizzy Thumbs, are Blackburn insane or correct rejecting millions for a player who doesn't want to be there and will go for free in the summer? Who are we talking about, Dizzy Thumbs? Are you talking about Joe Rothwell? Put a bit more meat on the bone there for me. Thoughts on Jed Steer joining Luton? Safe pair of hands, isn't it? It feels like a bit of a 1 and a 1A if it's Shea and Steer. But if Sluga needs to go out of Luton. They need somebody in, and Steer is very experienced. And let's be honest, Luton's recruitment is difficult to question, isn't it? Aaron, Huddersfield looking to sign a central midfielder from Chelsea on loan. Huddersfield have worked the loan market fairly well. And obviously, they've got Levi Colwill and they had Trevor Chalobah there in recent years. So there's probably a good relationship between Chelsea and Huddersfield. Bournemouth buying the division. Do you remember when Newcastle did that in, what was the year where Rafa was their manager? Was it 16, 17? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, they just bought up all the best players all the best players they could get. QPR still trying to get Patterson from Swansea. We'll have to get some Swans fans in to let me know what the latest is with Patterson as well. Glenn Ray linked with Wigan. I tell you what, Wigan are picking up some experienced and brought Shinnie in as well recently, didn't they? Sort of knowledgeable players there, aren't they? Keep your comments coming in. Bournemouth trying to buy second place. Yeah, they're probably not going to catch it. Trying to buy promotion is what we're saying. But hey, everybody's trying to do that. Elliot Anderson into Luton from Newcastle is one we've heard about. That looks like it's going to happen, doesn't it? Charles, why is Millwall struggling to get signings? Is it low bids or the manager's style? I would think it's more that Millwall are very careful with what they do, even down to not releasing fees or contract lengths and whatnot. So I suppose the big one, Charles, at Millwall is Jed Wallace, isn't it? And whether we get this winger domino effect with either Brennan Johnson or a Keane Lewis Potter, and then that might get a Jed Wallace or somebody to go the other way. We don't know yet. Often the dominoes don't start falling until, well, they start falling in the afternoon, and then we get to 6, 7 o'clock and everybody is rushing around. And you almost want to be one of those clubs, don't you, where you put the message out at 6 o'clock saying that's us done for the transfer window. Let's dive into some more comments here. Will, I don't see how Phillips has ended up at Bournemouth. I swear West Ham and Burnley wanted him. I suspect the rationale for that, Will, would be that Liverpool charge very, very big fees and wouldn't loan to a Premier League rival, would they? So we will see whether that's the case, whether they're prepared to loan to the Championship. But, you know, they've got big, big fees, haven't they, for their young players, Liverpool. Keep your comments coming, keep your questions coming in. Thumbs up in the chat as well really helps us. Nabil, what do you think of Newcastle transfer moves? I think they will stay up with all the signings. Conceived wisdom would say you're probably right, Nabil. They haven't gone mental, have they? Obviously, the Saudi money isn't immediately going to be able to buy Kevin De Bruyne into the bottom three or Ousmane Dembele or whoever. But the level they can get is players that aren't wanted by other clubs, particularly with Trippier. Obviously, Dean has just replaced Target at Villa. So they're investing heavily, which we expected. They're getting what they can. And yeah, you look at that bottom four and you think that would probably be enough, if it works, to take them out of it. So we will see. Preston signed Diaby. Look at his arms. They are bigger than my future. Brilliant stuff. Hello, everybody. Give your thumbs up in here. Thomas, Da Costa and potentially one other Cov player looks set to leave today. Could you see a surprise deadline day signing for us? I wouldn't imagine anything big, Thomas, in terms of the incomings. I guess the new contract from O'Hare was the big January story there at Coventry. No, maybe a loanee, maybe someone to help out up top if there's. It's all the dominoes. You have to wait until late, don't you? Particularly for a lone striker. So yeah, we'll see what comes up. But yeah, you can imagine a bit of streamlining there at Cov. Always hard to get players at the Den. Yeah, there you go. Could Brucey be back in at Sunderland for the second time? Could Mick McCarthy be back in at Sunderland for the second time? Have Derby sold anyone, seeing as their cash runs out in Feb? Yeah, one youngster went to Chelsea, but nothing for any big money yet going out of Derby. And look, it's an ongoing saga, isn't it, with the actual money and how long it's going to last. So no, we're not seeing anything yet in terms of Derby. And honestly, I don't think we will. And that's quite a good scenario for Derby, because we all wondered whether, I don't know, pick any three of their good young players plus Bielik could possibly be gone. Luke Freeman to Luton. I'm guessing that one would be a loan, Martin. There was plenty of links for Freeman in the summer, but nothing happened. Expensive, I think, wasn't he? Someone who smartened me up into Sheffield United when they were in the Premier League. Is that right? From QPR. Ryan Longman could become a permanent deal for Hull. I would get that done if I were Hull. That sounds like a smart one, Marcus. He's already there, and Brighton are worried more about Basuma and Webster and people of that nature sort of going out. Bournemouth making some very strong signings. We will see. The names linked are big names, aren't they? Peter, too many players at Luton. Offload Danny Hilton so he gets a chance with another club. Bit of a legend there, Hilton, isn't he? Peter. Maxi Rothwell isn't happening. We'll see. Dembele, Moore, Cantwell, Woodman and Phillips all happening. Again, we'll see. You know my take on these things. I need to see player holding shirt and announced. We've seen plenty of many a slip betwixt cup and lip, let's just say. Any more questions here? Ian could see Big Kiefer scoring bucketfuls at Bournemouth. He would definitely, Ian, give them an option that they don't have in terms of, someone who's, Solanke's not bad at getting on the end of crosses, but that's Moore's game. The only issue I would say is Parker loves a 4-3-3. It's always one central striker. So you could imagine, even if they did sign Kiefer Moore, that he's on the bench, and when they're not winning a game at 60, 65 minutes, he joins Dom Solanke, but he's not quite a nailed-on starter, is he? Hull linked with Spurs youngster Harvey White. You'd assume that would be a loan. Dwight, where's the Dwight Gale link this season? I mean, Ian's joking, but if you stick him in the Championship and give him 18 games or whatever there is left, 19, 20 games, he'll get 10 goals, won't he? He always does. Happy for Naldini. I assume that's Nat Phillips. Bournemouth making decent signings. We'll see. We'll see and wait until these are all announced. Dan Burn as well into Newcastle. £33 million offer in for Hugo, excuse my pronunciation here, Ekitike. Sorry if I've butchered that one. Brilliant to see so many of you joining me here at lunchtime. Get your comments in. It's all about your ideas, your chat, your debate. Sorry if I get 5 minutes behind, but do hang in there. I'll try and do as many. Forest for Dwight Gale. It doesn't not make sense, that one, Chris, does it? Hendrick and Kieran Clark. Hendrick looks strong, doesn't it, Stephen? Do Middlesbrough, I know they often play Dyke-Still and McNair, who are not necessarily centre-backs, but have kind of converted over there. Do they need centre-backs? I suppose they've solved the striker position, Stephen. So, that may well make some sense. When I say solved, I don't mean the goals are guaranteed, but Balogun and Connolly are in, aren't they, up front? And look, Chris Wilder knows how to shape a squad. Thought Harris would have been a good fit at Sunderland. Well, AJ's gone to the bottom of the league, not at the top of the league. Think Town will get Tino. Anyone think we'll get anyone else? Tino, are we back on a spree out there? Nixon reporting Luton in for Luke Freeman. Yeah, Nixon's normally good on the Northwest clubs, isn't he, Dasher? All I would say to Luton fans is, and QPR fans will back this up, Luke Freeman, great set play guy. Very, not really the Luton pace in terms of the speed that stuff happens there on transition, but good player. Very good player indeed. United need central midfielder and a winger. Well, I suspect Manchester United will do something if Van der Beek goes out on loan to Everton, which we think might happen this afternoon. They'll probably announce that at the same time as Lampard at Everton, won't they? I'm pretty sure what Man United will do is some kind of temporary signing that will be really expensive, but for 6 months. But if Martial and Van der Beek both go out, then you assume big load of wages has just been freed up. What else have we got in there? Harrison did a stint at... Oh, okay. I didn't know that, David. Maybe that explains the Gillingham link. Colm. Blades in for Charlie Good from Brentford. Interesting. No, that hasn't been mentioned yet, Colm. Thank you. Actually, our mate Peter on Patreon had mentioned it. Charlie Good there. Interesting one. I'm not entirely sure what Charlie Good's level is because he was good at Northampton. He went in at Brentford, didn't play too many games, maybe slightly more than he expected with a couple of injuries. Had a couple of goes in the Premier League. So I really don't know quite where to pitch him in terms of lower Premier League, upper Championship, lower Championship. Obviously, above League One, where he was at Northampton. Actually, he might have even been League Two, and then they got promoted, wasn't he? I don't know. Pass. Josh Madger, medical at Stoke. Stoke have made some moves, Jude, haven't they? I quite like Stoke's business. We'll do a full roundup at 7 p.m. But Baker, Harwood Bellis, Philogene Bidas, Jagielka, Madger comes as well. I know I was just questioning the wisdom of Bournemouth taking 5, but that could be 5 in at Stoke, couldn't it? What else have we got? Bacuna of Birmingham yesterday was the Bacuna week, but he was good, wasn't he? Ryan, I agree with you there. Surprised Harris took the job. Guess he's not had a sniff. Yeah, he hasn't. And yeah, if it is near his manner, absolutely. Any news on Liverpool and Carvalho? Nothing more from me than we've read already. I've got a hunch that doesn't happen, to be honest, Claire. Carvalho to Liverpool. I don't think they're going to be willing to pay. And we know Fulham don't have strength in the bargain in there because Carvalho can, whatever he does, he's not going to be very old in summer and he's going to be out of contract. And then, name your wage basically for Carvalho. Patterson bid from QPR rejected, apparently. Lewis Wing linked with Pompey as Wednesday want rid. Strange. I like Lewis Wing, but not really worked out, has he? Yes, that was Rothwell. Okay, we rejected 3.5 mil and Bournemouth went for more instead. That's a bit scattergun, isn't it? Because you couldn't think of two more different players than Kiefer Moore and Joe Rothwell. One's a kind of driving midfielder and one's a, proper target man striker. But there you go. Bowyer has alluded to that. Fingers crossed. Hats off to Derby. Thought to the end. Yeah, we'll have a look and see what happens at Birmingham. I think something will happen, won't it? Particularly with Harley Dean going out. Obviously, Mengi had already come in, but still, centre half there for Birmingham, maybe. Harris can get his career by taking Gillingham up from League Two. Easy for me to say. Keep your thumbs up coming in. Keep your comments coming in. There's loads. Sorry, I'm way behind. I'm trying to do you the respect of reading as many as I can. Right, where are we going in? Sorry. Let's dive in. Ben, happy with Thompson loan from Brentford? Yeah, very happy with that. Dom Thompson into Ipswich on loan. Needed a left wing back. Looks like Hayden Coulson will go back to Middlesbrough. So perhaps another League One club will be able to take Coulson, or Chris Wilder might have a look at him. Who knows? That deal was obviously done before he arrived. Ryan Babel. There you go. He's linked every window, isn't he? Peter Oden Wingy, anybody? Praying for good news for Bielik. Yes, absolutely. Put his shoulder out, scoring a goal. How heroic. What else have we got in the chat? Campwell, more surprising for me. Yes, I think Premier League clubs are a little bit off-put by... I don't want to be unfair to Cantwell because I do know people who know the bloke, but perhaps a slight overconfidence. We've got a done deal coming up from Ipswich, actually. Scott Fraser into Charlton, which is a shame, actually, from my point of view, because he was really good for MK, but a bit of a victim of the big Ipswich reset, and they built the squad, and he hasn't managed to find his way into the team either under Paul Cook or Kieran McKenna. So Ipswich cashing in. I would imagine, and I'm speculating, that there's probably a fairly healthy fee. We think Ipswich paid about $750,000 for Fraser, so you would assume they would only sell for something similar that soon in. But I think Fraser's a good player, and if he's used correctly by Johnny Jackson, who was an attacking midfielder himself, wasn't he? Am I right? Then he'll do well at Charlton. So good luck to Fraser. Ray, do I think Leeds will bring in a few new signings? No, I don't, Ray. I honestly don't. They're so cautious, aren't they, Leeds? It tends to be one or two players for big money. So, no, I don't think they would do that in January. The thing Leeds need is Bamford and Phillips back on the pitch, don't they? Luton gone for Steer because West Brom decided to keep the keeper they were interested in. That means Johnston must be going. Yeah, that could happen. Actually, that's another Fabio Carvalho job, isn't it, Chris, in respects of contract up at the end of the season? Do you take 4 or 5 million and lose the player? You're far more likely to do it for Sam Johnston if he's not in the plans than you are for Fabio Carvalho, who's a bit of a star for Fulham. So we will see. Yes, Scott Fraser done. Thank you, Tom. I think you beat me to it. A club's still using fax machines. I hope so, Claire. Can't understand Villa letting Target go on loan. No, that won't be a loan, will it, AJ? I agree with you. It makes sense for that to be a permanent if it's going to be anything. And, of course, there's that leverage that people are putting on Newcastle. Everyone knows they've got loads of money. So it's either what was the movie with Cuba Gooding in? Show Me the Money. The one with Tom Cruise. I can't remember the Jerry Maguire. There you go. Show Me the Money for Newcastle. Hit that thumbs up button. Really enjoying the chat here. Loads of you watching. Keep your comments coming. I'm going to try and move nice and quickly down the feed so I get sped up a little bit and you don't have to wait 5 minutes for me to reply to every question. Do you think Fulham should sign someone? It wouldn't do them any harm, would it? Obviously, it's a popular thing in football. Strengthen while you're ahead because it's easier to integrate a player into a team that's winning. So wouldn't be the most silly thing in the world for Fulham to bring in one, would it? But obviously they're very well stocked. Palace in for Luke Plange. Brilliant goal by Luke Plange. And Derby are in no position to hold out for big money. They'll take what they can get. Be a shame to see him going. Yes, it was Dylan Williams. Rooney has said no one else is leaving. We will see. Why aren't I doing a stream from the club's training ground? That sounds fun. I could get down to MK or Luton or Bedford around the corner, I guess. Couldn't I? Todd Cantwell is not the great player he thinks he is. He's very good, isn't he, Ewan? There's definitely a really good player in Cantwell, but just needs to put all the dots together, don't they? And look, we're speculating. Good luck to him, of course. Bruce, more likely than McCarthy. Wolves F5 thinks back into Sunderland. Carvalho, they could do a loan back. Although, to be honest, Nabil, if I'm Fulham and he's going now, I want a fee, or at least a loan fee. If not, it's okay, we'll keep him. We're likely to go up and get the TV money anyway, so pay me, if you know what I mean. Thoughts on Scott Fraser? I think we've done that, but thank you, Akshat, for the reminder. Hilton was a legend. Time to move on. Absolutely. Right. Strong rumours on Hendricks to Borough. I'm struggling to figure out what Borough need more. Watching them the other night, Johnny Howson was sort of roughly doing the job Jeff Hendrick might do. I don't know. They're certainly kind of going for it, though, Borough, looking at those playoff spots. Richard, Josh Madger on loan for the rest of the season, so the local media are saying. Madger's done all right most places he's come, hasn't he? So I think he just gets a bit tarnished by being on that Netflix Sunderland documentary. Etigige's name is a palindrome. Is that the same spelt backwards as it is forwards? Is it? Nice. For all you people who play those play those. What are those games on Twitter that everyone tweets about? Wordle. That's it. Callum, Swans have got someone on loan from Mad City. Finley Burns. We'll keep our eyes on that one. How long will I be streaming for? Well, we got 120 people in here, so I'll keep going until the audience drops off. So the more people here, the more thumbs up. What happened with Norwich and Campwell? I'm not entirely sure, Paddy. I know he fell out with Daniel Farker a couple of times, but you would think, Everton have confirmed Frank Lampard. Can anyone check the Everton website for me and see if there's an announcement we can put up? Sky are saying Everton have confirmed Frank Lampard in, so we will, of course, talk about that. You would have thought, though, Dean Smith would have enjoyed the chance to rehabilitate a player that a previous manager couldn't. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just on the trying to type Everton with one hand, which apparently I'm incapable of doing. I'm seeing a big black people carrier appearing. I wonder whether that's Lampard in. Yes, that has been announced. It would appear. Frank Lampard, yes, 2 minutes ago, is announced as the new Everton manager. Is it on the website? They want me to buy a shirt. Of course they do. Yes, it is. So Frank Lampard, that is not a rumour anymore. It has been done. Lampard in at Everton. So I think, guys, give me 5 minutes. I think we will dive in on Everton and Lampard real quickly. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Wolves FI for €10 on the super chat. Thank you very, very much. Not the first time Wolves FI has helped out. Give me 5 minutes. We're going to talk about Lampard. Okay, it's a big story. And possibly the biggest name maybe to move on deadline day will be Frank Lampard, who has been announced as the Everton manager. We'd heard the rumours over the past few days. Lampard, former Chelsea legend as a player, obviously the managerial career took him to Derby for one season, then Chelsea for pretty much the same. It was slightly longer, maybe a season and a half, wasn't it? And now he goes in at Everton. Lampard has been quite picky, and I'd be interested in the chat's opinion. I think his pickiness has paid off here, hasn't it? They looked at Palace. They looked at Norwich, Lampard and his people. I think he either turned down an interview or was interviewed and turned down offers. I don't know the exact truth of that. But you tell me, what's the best possible job? Everton, Norwich or Palace? I don't know. Palace is obviously a London club. Norwich at the bottom of the table with their propensity to bounce in between. Everton, traditionally the biggest club of the three by miles, isn't it? But I'm sure I'll get comments saying, well, Ben, Everton, what's the structure like there? And is it a bit of a mess to clear up? Let's see what Everton have got to say about it on their website. Everton can confirm the appointment of Frank Lampard as the club's new manager. 2.5-year deal to take him to 2024. And he's going to take charge in the Cup at the weekend. A robust recruitment process, of course it was. Tells us a bit about Derby, but we can tell you, and I'm sure my subscriber base can tell you way more than is going to be in that couple of paragraphs. Interesting here, Joe Edwards, Paul Clement, who did used to manage Derby, Chris Jones. No mention of Jody Morris there. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is there because he always had Jody Morris by his side, didn't he? Huge honour, says Lampard. First message to the players. We have to do this together. We'll try and do our job. And I know the fans will be there backing us. So Lampard in at Everton. I think the consensus with Derby, and obviously it's a bit weird judging Derby now because this is a season that's key to Middlesbrough's complaints about Derby, isn't it? Even though the amortisation issues and all of that had nothing to do with Lampard. They happened before Lampard arrived. bit of a late surge into the playoffs, you have to say. But in deference to Lampard, look, it is what it is. That was a hard season in the Championship. He finished sixth. He got to the playoff final. So you can do all the ifs, buts and maybes in terms of Lampard. But you have to conclude he got damn close to Derby in the Premier League. Look, came up against Villa, Grealish, Abraham, Mings, etc. in the playoff final and one bridge too far. But decent job. I think at Chelsea, it was one of those where that was the only time, lightning in a bottle, he was going to get that job at that early stage of his career with the embargo and stuff. And just after that good season at Derby. And sadly for Lampard, when it was kind of not working out and Tuchel became available, they were pretty ruthless. But that's the deal at Chelsea. How will he do with Everton? Well, I suppose the good thing for Lampard in terms of Everton is that he's going to start from a low base, which always looks good, doesn't it? Let me just bring up the table over on the other screen. So Everton, they haven't even got a point per game. It's really poor, especially considering how they started the season. They've been on a dreadful run, got 19 points from 20 games. So you would assume that a relatively competent job would pretty much wouldn't be too difficult for a good manager. And you tell me whether you think Lampard is that, to take them at least up into that next quartile. And then I suppose the long-term outlook for Everton is obviously we don't even compare to Howard Kendall and winning the title or Joe Royle and winning the FA Cup. Although, to be fair to Joe Royle, they were down at the bottom of the league when they did win the FA Cup, weren't they? I think the comparison is David Moyes that Everton will want, and i.e. build that club up, exactly what he's done with West Ham, and get to that stage just one level below the elite there. So, look, I'm a big Lampard fan, actually. I thought he was a great player. Obviously, that doesn't make him a great manager. We all know plenty of great... Look, Bobby Charlton was not a very good manager, and he was one of the greatest of all time, wasn't he? So that kind of proves that point in a nutshell, doesn't it? But what I loved about Lampard as a player was this kind of commitment to improvement, this obvious drive and work ethic from becoming Fat Frank at West Ham, and that famous clip of the supporters Q&A with Harry Redknapp where they basically accuse Harry of only picking him because of his name. And, well, I think he proved everybody right there, Redknapp, didn't he? Because Lampard was an all-time great in terms of the Premier League. If the same can be said about his management and that work ethic and that kind of studious nature of his, is a key quality, then, he'll be a really good manager. But the jury is still out, isn't it? It's almost like the Chelsea thing is just confusing. It doesn't really tell us a hell of a lot. And neither does the Derby thing just in one season. Although I have to say, getting that close with Derby, you have to kind of say it's a job well done, isn't it? So good luck to Frank Lampard. I think he'll do all right, I have to say. And my definition of all right is by the end of this season, they need to be 10th to 15th, don't they? And then going forward, they need to become a top half team. And then the end game, I guess, for any team in the Premier League that is not Liverpool, Chelsea or Man City, and then Man United, Arsenal or Tottenham, the end goal for any of those is to be close. And I suppose West Ham and Moyes, the former Everton manager, is the blueprint there. So, yeah, get me your thoughts in on Lampard. I've rambled for a while on him, but I wanted to say a little bit because we can clip that out. Let's see if we can get some comments. At Derby, you got a lot of help with loan deals. Yes, he did. That's part of the job, isn't it, though? Some would argue Steven Gerrard can only get Phil Coutinho because of relationships, and relationships are part of business. But I do agree. Anything else on Frank Lampard here? Jay, Everton might have timed this announcement wrong. Should have got it done to give Lampard a chance. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure he's already there, though, in the building. working on it. Ben, do they officially get renamed Frank Lampard's Everton? Of course they do, Ben. Whenever you get a big name, and whatever your feelings on Lampard, he's definitely a big name. One of the, quote, golden generation, an all-time great in the Premier League. Let's see if there's any more comments on Mr. Lampard. Duncan Ferguson's going to stay. Yeah, he's part of the furniture there as well. Alex, I think Frank has played that well. Everton, definitely the best option out of three. I agree. Yeah, good luck to him. I like Frank. Rafa was always on a hiding to nothing. He needs to be a player's manager to be successful. Yes. Yeah. And sometimes with great players, they've got to be able to relate to players who weren't as good as they were. That was always the kind of issue with Glenn Hoddle, was the thought that he couldn't relate to players who weren't as good as he is. And you would put Glenn Hoddle's probably a better player than Frank Lampard even, but you take my point. What Lampard should have done is take a Gerrard route. Maybe the offers were there though, weren't they, for Rangers? That job came up at the same time, didn't it? Big Duncan linked with Sunderland. Interesting. Now I rate Rooney higher than Lampard. That'll be a good one to keep an eye on, won't it? Now Lampard's back, Gerrard's there, Rooney's there as well. You love to see it. I reckon he didn't go to Norwich due to our lack of funding. Yeah, would you believe Lampard interviewed for Ipswich in 2018 and didn't get the assurances he wanted? So he's, some would say, picky, but it's almost like Superman catching the bus, isn't it? If you can fly, why would you take the bus? If you're Frank Lampard and you've got that big name value, and whether you like it or not, that name value gets you in the door for an interview. And why not, after such a great career, I guess? Why not go in and say, what have I got to spend? What's the project here? And if the project is you're going to get 5 million quid from Martin Waghorn, who ironically Frank Lampard took to Derby, then why would you not take the job? There we go. Last word on Frank Lampard into Everton. Good luck, Frank. And thank you for all of the comments in on that one, as Lampard is confirmed to be landing at Everton today. Right, guys, my apologies. We've just disappeared for 10 minutes. Can we reset now? Apologies. There's loads of comments in. Can I really politely ask everyone to reset, and just, even if you're repeating your comments, I'm going to go from now, okay? And we'll get involved in the comments from now. So apologies if I didn't read your comment. Feel free to put it back in. I won't moan that you're repeating yourself. Feel free to stick it back in. Stick the thumbs up in the comments on this deadline day stream. Keena's barely made the bench at Fulham. Where's he being linked with then, guys? Okay, Com. Barnsley interested. That would probably be a good deal for all parties, as who was that making that point? As Jake points out, he's nowhere near the first team. Although you do wonder whether they would want to redirect. If that might depend on Fabio Carvalho. It's all interlinked, isn't it? Can't wait for Lampard versus Leeds in a couple of weeks' time. Well, absolutely. What else are we going here? Simon, if Warburton gets in another creative midfield players, why not try a cheeky bid for Swift? You wonder what the number would be to get Swift out of Reading, because we all know Reading have to cut costs in summer, and they've literally got the EFL approved plan. If I were Reading, I would be, no, we'll take the short-term hit, just keep Swift there until the end of the season. So I think it would cost. I think Reading could play. I don't think they'll be in a position to in summer, but I think they could play hardball for Swift. Right, what have we got in the chat? Swans cast needs some action at Swans. Yeah, Hannes Wolf in. We'll see what happens with Patterson there. That could mean that something happens. But again, this is a 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock thing, isn't it, lads? Jay, Birmingham won't be signing any more players as we're on a 1-in, 1-out policy. Okay, interesting. Done deals then, I guess. How are Ipswich getting on, says Rebel. Scott Fraser has gone out of Ipswich. So I suspect somebody's going to be in at Ipswich today. Scott Fraser has joined the done deals. Lise Mousset has also gone out. Thank you. Someone had let me know about that. Lise Mousset, big 10 million quid into Blaze, wasn't it? So that's some cost cutting there. He's gone out to Salernitana. Gregor McGregor reporting major interest in Antoine Semenyo. I'm not surprised. He's playing very well at the moment. Again, I would say the same thing about Bristol City as about Reading, in that the ability to play hardball now for Bristol City is much higher than it will be in the summer, we think. So what I'm saying is it will cost a pretty penny to get Semenyo out of Bristol City at the moment. Every player has a price, of course, as the $1 Million Man said in WWF. So, yes, we'll see there. Is Derby signing anyone? Wouldn't have thought so, Aquatic. That will go down like the proverbial fart in church, wouldn't it? Opinions on Neil Lennon to Sunderland. Some fans turning up their nose. I'd love to see a Warnock return. I'm not sure about Neil Lennon, I have to say. I would honestly, and I know a lot of people don't like these conclusions, but you just need somebody to go in there. They're right at the top of the table. It's almost a charisma, man management, just push them over the line, which does sound like Warnock, Bruce or McCarthy, doesn't it? Just experience, knowledgeable, bit of gravitas about them, get them over the line. It does not need at Sunderland, as much as I like Paul Cook, who's just gone out of Ipswich, a Paul Cook who's going to go in and then, right, they're doing the 4-2-3-1, they're doing the fullbacks, that sort of thing. It doesn't need that, does it? Where will Streaky Lee end up? Don't know. League One, though, probably now. I think that is the level. Jebison recalled from Burton by Blaze. Well, that, Tony, makes all the sense in the world now. We've seen Lise Mousset go out, hasn't it? Villa rumoured to be back in for Basuma. Is he worth 50 million? Well, we do have a barometer for Brighton and their best players. I know Ben White is English and there's always a premium, but Basuma's 25 and Brighton's last big out was for 50 million quid. So Villa, Spurs and Manchester United, you would think Manchester United, if Pogba ultimately is not going to be there, Van der Beek's gone out on loan, you would think Manchester United might be the one there, but we will see. Rotherham in from a young winger from Arsenal. Rotherham just needs a little tickle, doesn't it? The squad looks good. The league position looks good. They need to, unless they get offered silly money for someone, they need to stick rather than twist at the moment. Mike, not confirmed, but sounds like Fulham want in excess of 15 mil. Liverpool will. Yeah, that's the situation, Mike, isn't it? In terms of doing a deal there, it just doesn't seem worth it for 5 million quid, does it? You've got 100 million quid TV money resting on promotion, and Carvalho helps a lot with that. If it is 15 million, then that makes a difference. Essentially, if it is 15 million, then that writes off the Harry Wilson deal, doesn't it? So that's the sort of deal that I'd be looking to do if I were Fulham. You can have Carvalho, but that's Wilson done and the fee gone. So yes, Patterson's situation is a fast prime example of negative. Someone smarten me up on Patterson. Where are we with this now? A toy's well and truly out of reach. Swift out of contract in the summer. Exactly. So that I didn't say that when we were talking about Swift, but yeah, he's done at the end of the season. Just keep him. And for Reading, I think the value in staying in the division, and they're in trouble. We think Reading, if you can, for the majority of the game, get Swift, Maite, Zhao and Ejaria on the pitch, that they're not going to get relegated. So that's the difference, isn't it? Massimo Luongo out of contract. Yeah, I think he could do a deal in the Championship. Nobody in the right mind pays 20 million for Semenyo. I'm not sure anyone. Is anyone suggesting 20 million there? Maybe it was someone in the chat, but yeah, it cost a pretty penny there. I think they're in a position where they can over quote in terms of getting what they want. How long am I going to stream for? We've got plenty of people watching, so we'll keep going. I'm enjoying it. The comments keep coming. What do I think of Burnley replacing Chris Wood with that striker from Weghorst? I'm going to be completely binary about this, Nabil. If Burnley stay up, it's a great deal. If they go down, it's a terrible deal. It's that binary, isn't it? If they stay up, they'll probably be smiling because they've, like you suggest, they've probably spent half the fee that Wood was on Weghorst. But it doesn't matter if they don't stay up. And if they don't stay up, everyone's going to look at that deal and they're going to look at how many goals Weghorst didn't score, even though Wood only got 3 in the first half of the season or whatever it is. Do you think Nketiah is now out of a Championship club's reach for a loan signing? No, I don't. Nketiah, we need to know what he is. It's a bit like Lampard, isn't it? What is Nketiah? Is he this wonder kid? If he is, why didn't Bielsa play him? Why isn't he scoring and starting for Arsenal? So we need to know what he is. And again, with the point made about Nat Phillips, would Arsenal rather not loan him into the Premier League so he's playing against them and send him into the Championship? So no, I don't think it would be a out of reach there. Aquatic, Bowler or Wallace to Forest happening. I just think that all depended on Brennan Johnson, didn't it? That you could literally draw the trail of, okay, Johnson goes to Brentford, which frees up the money for Forest to sign Jed Wallace, which frees up the money for maybe Millwall to put in a bid for Josh Bowler. So I don't know. Are any clubs in the Championship that don't have parachute payments going to be willing to be the one that brings in the player without selling someone to bring in the cash? I'm not sure I see it. So there you go. Honestly, no idea. Russ Martin is happy to welcome him back. Has no issues with players. Keeps hitting out at players' advisors. There we go. All I would say with Patterson is Swansea are better off with him than without him. But look, if he's a malcontent, which I don't know, then, you know, Bristol City value him at 20 million. Yeah, I know, Phil. But that's almost like me saying, I don't know, if my car is worth 10 grand, but I don't really want to sell it, I'll say my car's worth 20 grand. And if someone's willing to then pay me 15 grand for it, happy days. And I'll go buy a new 15 grand car, which I didn't want. So there you go. I don't know how much my car's worth. And before you all accuse me of being wealthier than I am, it's a VW Passat. And I've nearly paid it off, by the way. It'll be paid off in April. Finally relieved to get the Ericsson signing done and dusted. And look, Tony, whether Ericsson does well or not at Brentford, it's just a great story, that. And we're all really pleased that a player who was, you know, passed out on the pitch in front of all our eyes is back in and working, we hope. Swansea won 750,000 mil for Patterson. I think we are low balling. Yeah, so that could drag out all the way to 11 p.m. then if it's that type of game. Oliver, Bournemouth Medical Department earning their money today. 4 players rumored to be currently at the ground. Well, we're sure one of those is Nat Phillips, and we're sure one of those is Todd Cantwell, and then the others might be Kiefer Moore, probably not Joe Rothwell, and who was the other? Siriki Dembele as well. Do you know financially what the difference is between League One and the Championship? Well, in League One, you don't have 3 teams coming in with 45 million quid that doesn't apply to FFP, but I've made my feelings very clear over the last 4 or 5 years about that. So we think a year 1 parachute team gets 45 million, a year 2 parachute team gets 32 million, a year 3 gets 15 million. We're talking TV money, which is the big kicker. All the other Championship teams get 7 million. We think a League One team gets about 1 million quid in terms of TV money. It's not a lot. Those are all kind of guesstimates based on stuff I've read, so don't expect them to be exact numbers. But that is the kind of sliding cliff edge scale as we go from Premier League to Parachute to Championship to League One. So big deal. Chair return from AFCON feels like a new signing. Absolutely. Hull looking at a loan deal for Marcus. I like that a lot. I'd have if that happens with Hull and maybe they get Longman permanently and this new owner bounce continues, then I've got Hull pulling away from that bottom 6. But they're an odd team this season, Hull. Lose, win 4 in a row. Lose, win 3 in a row. Interesting. Scott Parker, the next for a car window interview. I want to see Peter Odom-Wingy. I want to see a poor Sky reporter being hit over the head with some strange piece of plastic. And I want to see someone being interviewed in their car window. Forest of Sol Carvalho, yeah. I wonder how much for. Clever bit of dealing that, if because you can always argue whatever a player comes in for, that's their market value. And we know Forest spent a lot on Carvalho, don't we? So, yes. Mad that Mane and Salah could be face-to-face in AFCON. That will be another new signing. One of the world's best in Salah returning. Marcus Brown is about to sign for... Hasn't he been on loan there a couple of times? What else have we got in the chat here? Helen, fingers crossed for Bowler staying until the end of the season. Yeah, he's interlinked, Helen, in this winger with Brennan Johnson and Jed Wallace and Josh Bowler, as you mentioned. Keane Lewis Potter, they're all kind of the names, all right wingers, aren't they? Essentially, so, or wingers, let's just say. Passat, good cars. There you go. Swans Cast want a dedicated left wing back there. Joel Latabodier doing a good job there. Callum, we are massive. Certainly the transfer window bill is going to be massive, but Bournemouth are going for it. Do you blame them in the current circumstances if they're going to drop from year 2 parachute payment to year 3 parachute payment? Then yes. Johnson staying at Forest until at least the end of the season. We think so. We think, don't we, Aquatic? But what I'll always say is, look, what is more powerful, a tweet from a club saying he's staying, or a massive bid, or a knockdown effect? You never know what the knockdown effect is. Let me pull something out of my head. What if Brighton sell Bissouma to Man United for 15 million? Brighton then spend a huge chunk of change on Ben Brereton Diaz, and then all of a sudden there's loads of money in the Championship, and Blackburn or someone can make a huge bid, or I don't know, Brentford sell someone for a ton of money and they can then make a bigger bid for Brennan Johnson. So we don't know. We do not know. Blue signing Mitchell Roberts, new contract there. QPR fans saying Willock is better than Eze now. Not sure about that one. Imagine Eze in this current team. I think we're in, Louis, they're all very good territory there, aren't we? Some very good players gone through QPR. Chair there at the moment. Willock there at the moment. 6 goal contributions in January for Chris Willock when we thought they'd struggle without Chair. Obviously, Bright Samuel went out as well. Matty, looking at like an interesting day. Hopefully, Bristol City can keep hold of Semenyo and Masengo. I think that it cost way over what anyone's willing to pay for Masengo and Semenyo at the moment. Maybe in summer, I think those deals could be done, but not today. But you never know, do you? My Diaz pause not long enough. Sorry. Sorry, Jay. 171 in the chat. Worth, hit the like button and we will keep rolling on deadline day. We're going to be back at 7 p.m. and we'll sum up the entire window. So I won't go too much longer, as much as there's lots of you watching, which I'm very grateful for. And I'm very, very much enjoying it. Lampard in for Tom Lawrence. No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think Lawrence is a top-end Championship player. I know he's down in the bottom 3, but that's the type of club that would be able to take him. I don't see him going in at Everton. Right. We've done the hour. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me. I didn't know what to do for deadline day. We're going to do 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Complete, no script, no planning, Q&A, and you lot have delivered the goods. And obviously, big thanks to Everton for announcing Frank Lampard midway through the stream, which gave us plenty to discuss. But yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining here. We're going to be back at 7 p.m. where there's going to be a lot more done deals, and we're going to analyze the whole window. So deals done earlier in the window as well. Thank you, Baz, legend. Thank you, Jonathan. Oh, has that happened, Callum? I think I'm going to have to go for another couple of minutes, aren't I? Has that gone through, Freddie Woodman? Let me just head over to my other screen. We might have Freddie Woodman, the last throwings here of this. What am I going to Google here with one hand? I can't type with one hand, especially not my left hand. Yes. So that's officially announced. Freddie Woodman in to Bournemouth. Tough job if you're Mark Travers, who's done well, but Woodman was very, very good for Swansea, wasn't he? I liked him a lot. So, yes, Woodman out of Newcastle into Bournemouth. I like that. Good deal. And we'll talk more later on. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let's just say some more thank yous here. Dave, thank you. Andrew, Ian, Nat, Tom, Wolves, thank you for the super chat, Wolves FI, very kind. Thank you, David, and we'll see you all at 7. Over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over